少年ジャンプス。
Oh my god, we're here again. Welcome back to Shonen Chumps, the only anime podcast on the gosh darn internet that features the three of us. As always, I'm Brennan.
I'm Sean.
I'm Dylan.
And if you didn't know what we do here, we watch anime, and then we hang out, and then we talk about it with you. This week, it's been a long time coming. Mob Psycho 100, Season 2.
Nice. So, yeah, guys, it's been a while. Fans, you know, it's been like, what was the last show we did? Alita?
Like a
Battle
month
Angel?
ago.
Like, yeah, that was actually wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it hasn't
Like,
been
half
that
ago or
long.
so?
Yeah.
But like, just so you know, we're counting on you to watch The Throne.
Yeah.
The anime podcast Throne that we hold, I guess. If you're listening to this, we can probably all agree that we hold the throne for anime podcast.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're watching it for us, making sure that nobody else takes it while we're away.
Keeping
Yeah.
it clean.
Yeah.
Step to us, IGN.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they have an anime podcast. Right?
Crunchyroll.
And IGN used to. I don't know if they do anymore.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Took them down.
Our podcast that releases every now and then.
Yeah.
It's their weekly podcast.
And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, fans. It's not our throne alone. You can sit in it. It's also yours.
It is your throne.
Yeah.
You've built it.
Yeah.
Out of the bones of our enemies.
Yeah. It's just that you also watch it. We don't watch it.
I think it's kind of a weird coincidence that one time we asked, we put out into the wide web, we were like, hey, Crunchyroll, maybe sponsor us, and then like next week they had an anime podcast.
Yeah, I don't
Just
think that was
saying.
a coincidence.
Just saying.
No, yeah.
I
They know.
don't think that was a coincidence.
Somebody there hates us.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It could
and
be
if
you.
they do, right back at you.
Before I ask my tried and true first question of the day, or of every podcast, I just want to say, if you want to reach out to us, the Shonen Chumps, you can tweet at us at Shonen Chumps. That's it. That's the end of that sentence.
We also
You were
have
going to
an
say
email.
at shonenchumps@gmail.com.
Yeah, I was. You can email us at shonenchumps@gmail.com.
Yeah.
What else? I think
You
that's
can find us on the Facebook and the YouTube. We're Shonen Chumps pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, Google Play, whatever.
All of you who've
Yeah.
been sticking around and talking to us and sending us emails and all of that good, wholesome, wonderful stuff, thank you.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Actually, as a callback to our first Mob Psycho podcast about season 1, we each have a beer around us. Guys, let's crack these
Yeah.
beers.
It's
For all
only fitting.
old-timey fans of the show.
Yeah, for the OGs.
We have a little tradition here,
Yeah.
which started, I guess, now because it's the second time we're doing it.
Yeah. Every time a season of Mob comes out, we drink.
Which is really funny because, like, you think that we would do it for, like, a shitty one, like, I don't know, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid or some... No, wait, no,
That's
that was
pretty
good.
good.
Sorry, I'm mixing up. I'm thinking of that one... that was
Ancient Magus Bride.
Ancient Magus Bride, like something that we can drink and laugh to. Mob requires no drinking. You can just enjoy it.
This is just celebration.
We're just having fun, baby.
is
Yeah,
just
we're just celebrating, baby.
So we know how we do this. 99!
And we're not going to tell you what beer we're drinking because we're not sponsored by them either. But if you'd like to sponsor us, reach out at shonenchumps@gmail.com.
Yeah, we do this like once a month now. So if you want to be, you know.
Anime brand beer. What I'd give to see Reigen on a can of Heineken.
Good God. Oh, boy. Anyways,
Oh yeah, my tried and true question. Oh my god, getting
Sean's had
tongue-tied.
like 4 beers.
I'm wasted now. Yeah, that'd be really funny. No, first beer of the night. Guys, what did you think of Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 in one sentence?
All right. I'm going to say not what I was expecting or necessarily what I wanted, and yet completely satisfying. Period. Or
Nice. Oh.
mostly satisfying. Period.
Nice.
Nice. That was a good sentence, Dylan.
Thank you.
Brennan?
My sentence is, I didn't think that anything could topple Mob Season 1, but here we are.
Whoa.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can say this in a sentence. I'm the new Brennan.
What Sean's referencing is that usually Brennan rambles on for way more than one sentence. Go ahead, Sean.
Right. The first half of this season was not what I expected at all, but I loved it. The second half was what I expected, and I disliked it.
I think that the way you feel is the way I feel, but more extreme. Because I get that feeling too. That's kind of why my sentence was constructed. I guess the way it was.
Yeah, and who knows if I actually feel more extremely. It may just be the way that I talk about it.
True.
Maybe.
Let's find
Sean
out.
only speaks in extremes.
Yeah.
Let's find out right now.
Love and hate. Yeah.
All right, boys.
Yeah, oh wait, I guess I'll start this off. Like, there was a first season of Mob Psycho, obviously, and this is Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. I think it's called, like, 2. Like, there's
just
a
Mob
Psycho 2 at the end.
2,
It's like
yeah.
Durarara X2, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
We mentioned Durarara on this show so much, you'd think that we all love it a lot.
You think that we would have podcasted the entire thing by now?
Yeah.
and
At
we
this
haven't.
point, you know
Or any-
what?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't podcasted any of it. Oh my God.
Maybe that'll be like our final podcast. It's like when Ragnarok comes,
Yeah.
the fucking snake eats its own tail. We
Or, that's a
podcast
very
Durarara.
somber thought. What the positive thought is that it's the required reading. It's the, the
yes.
text that you need to read before you attend the class.
Right,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
the
yeah.
prerequisite.
I like that a lot better.
That
Fuck.
in Full Metal, etc.
Yeah,
stuff
you
like that.
can't
Yeah.
take Shonen Chumps 101 without taking Full Metal.
Yeah.
And Durarara.
Which, like, I don't even think that Durarara should be required reading. Like, I don't feel that strongly about Durarara,
yeah.
but it comes up so goddamn much. We
yeah.
brought up Durarara in the first, in our podcast about Mob Psycho 100 Season 1.
Did we actually? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
because we
funny.
talked about how in Season 1 has all those gangs.
Right.
And it's like, is this Durarara? Anyway.
Dylan knows this because on his drive over here, he's listening to the first episode.
That's true. Anyway,
Also, if you're a listener at home and you haven't heard our review of the first season, you got to, because it's pretty good. I don't know. I was just listening to it the other day.
it's our second episode ever, so it's a bit rough around the edges.
The sound quality's kind
I
of
think
shit.
it's kind of fun.
We don't
I
know what
think-
we're talking about, but it's all right.
Yeah. Anyway, Sean.
So what I was
Yeah.
getting at, there's that first season, and now we've seen the second season, but did you guys take the time to watch the little OVA thing in between?
How dare you
Hell
ask that? Of course.
Fucking yeah, dude.
Dylan, you did? I thought you were listening to our podcast earlier because you wanted a recap of the first season, but
No, I wanted a recap of our opinions.
Because this OVA, I was going to say, is a recap of the first season, but it's glorious. It's
Yeah, it's amazing.
so
It's the
good.
best
It's Reigen.
recap
It's
you could ask for.
Yeah, sorry, if viewer or listener, sorry, if you didn't watch this, it's called Reigen, the Miraculous Unknown Psychic, and it's him retelling the events of the first season, inserting himself into scenes in which he didn't take place, like he was not there, making himself sound super cool and like the best thing that's ever happened in the psychic world or the Esper world.
Because he's trying to get Mob to, like, he's dictating to Mob.
Yeah.
In order for him to, like, write an autobiography, basically.
ghost write, I guess.
Yeah.
And I love how throughout this entire thing there's a fabrication counter. So instead
Right.
of Mob's like 0 to 100 counter, it's how much Reigen is fabricating the story.
Yeah. I like that Mob just kind of goes along with it, even though he's being blatantly lied to. And he, like, calls it. He's like, what? Didn't I do it? He's like, no. It's just for, just to get at the reader's imaginations a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really brilliant OVA because it serves as the purpose of being a recap. Often OVAs are like side stories, and they're definitely like fun. Like I've definitely enjoyed some of the OVAs we've watched over the years, but they're also not that necessary.
Not at all,
Most
yeah.
of them, for
It's just
the
like
most
fan
part,
service and-
I would say.
Yeah.
But this one was hilarious, and it really reminded you everything, I guess, about what happened in the season.
Yeah, there's a lot of original content, which I really
And
love. It's
great, yeah.
and yet there's a lot of original content there.
And what I adore is that it was actually translated to English too, so I could watch it with the original like Reigen voice actor
Same.
giving all his good lines.
I like that you said the original Reigen voice
yeah, I
actor,
don't know why I said
as if the original wasn't
Yeah.
Japanese.
Sean's referring to the dub. If you're new here, Sean loves his dubs.
Yeah, I do.
Which is like, it's fine. It's okay. I've never watched the Mob dub, but I feel like the next time I watch
You
Mob,
asshole.
God, that's absurd.
I will watch the dub.
I'm going to go on record and say that I also love dubs, for the most part.
Right. I'm going to go on record to say that like I had to watch the whole second season in sub because
Right.
it's not out fully in English and dub.
Yeah.
And I like the dub way better. And like I'm trying to be objective here. I'm really trying to be objective.
Agreed.
Mob's
100%.
voice is much more like sweet and childish. You just want to give him a hug.
I feel like we talked about this
Yeah.
on the first podcast,
mean,
too.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, just a
Dude,
bit.
I guess I'm the only
English
one
actors
here.
nail it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one here putting a flag in the ground for subs, but
Right.
I will say that it's equally good, if not, in my opinion, better than like the dub, because it still reads that way. You're like, oh, it sounds like sweet and childish. His voice is still pretty sweet and childish in Japanese.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, you're saying it's better than the dub, but you haven't watched the dub. I've actually
Well, I've
seen
seen
the
like
sub
a
and the
few
dub.
episodes. I haven't
Sean.
seen-
Yeah.
I haven't seen the entire series
Right,
in dub, but I've
okay.
seen like at least an episode.
Like,
Okay, fine.
I'm now waiting for the
compare.
entire second season to be out in dub. It's currently like a couple episodes in. I'm waiting for it to be done in dub so I can rewatch it that way.
See, I just probably won't do that. Like, as much as I want to,
See,
I just won't get around to watching the dub.
part of the reason I'm doing it is because I was so disappointed by the second half of this season
Mm-hmm.
that I'm waiting for it to come out again, and then I can watch it, and maybe it'll
Oh.
convince me to like it.
I think that I will like the second half more in dub.
See? Yeah.
Yeah, you're
what I
right.
think
Yeah,
too.
that's a good point.
Anyways, talking about this Reigen thing, this OVA,
Yeah.
a lot of original content, so cool, so many cool jokes. It's necessary viewing because it was used to announce the second season of the anime.
right, which
People
is
didn't
super
know that
cool.
the second season was happening until Reigen sees it on TV at the end of the OVA, which is super fucking cool to me.
and it's like a big spectacle. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, season 2 greenlit.
yeah.
Yeah, that must have. I mean, like, I didn't watch it before I knew there was a second season already, so I mean, it didn't have that much impact for me. But I can imagine that it was exciting
time, yeah.
At the time,
The thing is, when we watched it, I think we were all, or maybe not even in the podcast, but we would hang out and say, like, I can't wait for season 2 of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. And
Yeah,
we were
right.
both like, is it happening? So it's
Yeah.
like,
And we're finally here.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
finally
Wait,
here.
guys, we might as well count this as the second season of Shonen Chumps.
yeah,
We're in
Yeah.
phase 2 of
We're in
Shonen
phase
Chumps.
Our
Yeah.
seasons are marked by Mob Psycho
Yeah.
And One Punch Man,
One
yeah.
Punch Man.
yeah.
One and or
I guess
both.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really crazy to me that there could even be a question of there being a season 2, seeing how fucking amazing season 1 is. It's like literally maybe one of the best things I've just ever seen, period. And I was like,
Yeah.
how is this not, like, how's there even a chance that this didn't make enough money, or people aren't into it enough, or they can't sell it well enough?
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who'd heard our top 5 podcast,
Yeah.
which is really flattering because they just like tuned into a podcast to hear the three of us talk about our top 5 favorite anime,
Nice.
which is great. And I said that like if I were to redo that episode, like Mob Psycho season 1 might be my
Oh.
like in my top 5. I think
Hell
it would,
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
it would definitely be in my top 5.
It
I'd
is
have to replace
way up
something
there.
like Sailor Moon. Or
After some of the stuff we've seen watching stuff for the podcast,
Yeah.
I feel like we've got to do a whole new top 5 episode sometime.
We probably should. Anyway, so all I have to say about this Reigen thing is that at the beginning, Reigen's like in a bookstore or something, and there's a sign that says KKK text.
What?
Does KKK mean something else in Japan?
I completely missed that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
holy shit.
I don't know. I just noticed that in the corner of the screen. It was a really big banner. Anyways, just that, and the other thing I want to bring up is like, I don't know, it's just such a funny scene when all the characters gather around and read the initial version of the book, and they like pick it apart, and
Right.
the fabrication meter goes back down from 100 to 0. Man, that's so funny.
They all look
God.
so distraught. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is
And
this?
how when you lead to the final sequence where like all the major villains are being defeated in like the evil headquarters, like Reigen is just like crudely photoshopped over everybody else. Like
it's
his
the
head
same
just becomes
action scene.
gigantic.
Yeah.
Or like,
Right. The best thing was that they literally just put his head on top of Shoto. Shoto being the main bad guy of this season's son, like the red-haired kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Shoto, something like that. Like the scene where he punches that masked dude. They literally just put Reigen's head over. They don't even change his clothes, so it's like Reigen's just like changed.
And what was funny is that I remembered so little of that season when I was watching it. I'm like, who was this character? I know it's not Reigen, but I don't know who it is. Like, I forgot.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of that bit was the fact that they elongated Reigen's head to fit Teru's head because of his hair.
Did they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
God, that's amazing.
It's really funny.
Although one thing I will say is that Reigen did do some shit at the end. If we all remember, he got hit and then it's like he died, but then Mob's power was like inadvertently transferred to him, and then Reigen gets back up and then he kicks some of the dude's asses.
It's because Mob gets to 100% and Reigen like slaps him on both sides of his faces and is like, hey,
it's okay to run away. Yeah. And then he gives him his power because it's like, it's okay to run away.
I don't think Mob did it intentionally.
No, not at all. It's just like a subconscious transfer.
Right.
But
okay, so here we are in season 2, Mob Psycho. We waited years for this. It's amazing.
2 years,
Hell yeah.
The number one thing that I noticed, and you guys are going to roll your eyes, is that some of the lines are no longer green. Some of them are black.
I
really
knew
fucking
it.
killed me, dude.
Okay, I was
some
wondering.
of them are green. Some of them are still green. I'm like, why are you wishy-washing my heart, bro? Bones? Best animation studio out there. Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah,
you know
I
what?
noticed that too. I was like looking. I'm like, is this green?
I really want it to be a flaw of my eyes. I want them to all be green and for me to be the one fucking up. But they're not all green anymore, I think.
You
it's
wanna
like
know
how
something,
season 3 of Attack on Titan went thin lines instead of thick all the time.
Right.
You know?
But so I haven't seen any of the new season of One Punch Man yet, which is like currently airing.
I've probably heard the same things you have.
And a lot of people have been mentioning the changes in the animation style of One Punch Man, and I've been kind of nervous about it because they did hand it off to a different studio for this new season.
For One Punch Man?
Yeah, for One Punch Man.
Well, yeah, that's why that makes sense.
So,
but Mob Psycho's the exact same studio.
Yeah, so I was like, kind of, for some reason, like expecting Mob to also look different for some reason. So when I saw...
Wait, for viewers at home, I just want to clarify that Mob Psycho seasons 1 and 2 are both done by Bones.
Yeah.
It's just that One Punch Man was never done by Bones.
Not at all,
it's like each season is done by a different studio now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like that they... Like, I was kind of expecting it to be different, maybe subconsciously.
Right.
But then when I saw the kind of, like, scratchy hand-drawn, like, you can kind of see some of the frames of animation. It's like, it's not super polished all the time. I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, here we are again.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I kind of wish they used more of those like painterly effects that they did in season 1, because those were really funny every single time they happened. But
they did use them in the season though,
a couple
for sure.
times,
Yeah,
a couple times. But
like I wasn't disappointed
definitely...
by the amount that they used it. I think. I guess they could have used it more though.
Yeah, I wish they kind of dialed it up, but it was still good. I still really love how this whole thing looked.
Right.
So even though less is outlined in green, I'm not sure if it's just my memory or not, but I thought that this season looked amazing.
Dude.
Like, it looked like they had more money. It
did.
looked really, really, really good.
You know why I said with my sentence that this... I mean, like, it doesn't eclipse season 1, but I do think this is a cut above. It's because every single time that there was a big action scene that was happening, it's just I'm lost for words, man. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, this is one of the best looking animes I've ever seen.
Every action scene is crisp and beautiful, and God, I was pausing constantly. Like, I'd watch a scene and then I'd go back and like frame by frame like keep hitting pause to see every single second of this, because it's so intricate and beautiful and it moves so fluid. And
same,
man, they really push the envelope trying to make things feel as big and crazy as possible.
This might be my favorite looking and favoritely animated anime ever. Like it
Yeah.
looked so good. And Dylan,
That's
I don't know if
completely
fair.
I don't know if what you're saying, like I don't know if I heard that right, but like it made it seem like what you were saying is that the second season looks better than the first. I don't think it does. Like
Okay.
that might be memory, like maybe messing with you. I think it's like the quality has stayed the same. It's just that it was always fucking good.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
dude.
I'm not saying that the first season wasn't good, but I'm just saying that, like, I don't know, some of the
think-
sequences,
yo.
even, I just noticed, like, the color palette in
Right.
certain scenes was just fucking
Yeah.
bonkers, dude. The psychics using their abilities when they had, like, auras around them and stuff, it looked just incredible, like, pristine.
They're fucking
Gotta
brilliant.
believe that it was better than season one. Not that season one was bad, but it just seems
Like,
I
even
don't
just
know.
talking about
do you
like
think so, Brennan? Like, do you think it looks better than season one?
Here's why I think it might seem better. It's because the set pieces in season 2 were so much more elaborate than in season 1.
Yeah.
So, like, what are the big fights from season 1? There's the one against Teru, where he's
Yeah,
like
that's the
1v1ing
first like
him.
really big one in terms of like animation. I think.
And then
Dylan, if you're hesitant as to whether the first season looks good, you gotta watch the huge fight scene in the alleyway.
Yeah, so
where
that's-
Mob is
I
trying to
was gonna
stop his
say-
brother from getting kidnapped.
I'm
that's
not
the
saying I'm
second
hesitant
one.
about
Oh, yeah,
it looking
yeah,
great.
right,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
season
Like-
one looks great, but I think that season 2 just looks like incredible.
So
Right.
so the next big fight is probably the alleyway one.
Yeah.
And then it's the ending one, which happens at the Claw headquarters, and that's like very, very cool. It's amazing, but at the same time, it's not nearly as interesting as what we got in season 2. So like the two big ones that stand out for me in season 2, like we might be jumping ahead here. I guess we'll go through this episode by episode, but the fight in like the psychic realm against Mob and that other very powerful Esper that turned into an evil spirit whose name I can't remember.
I think Dylan's looking it up.
It starts with an M.
Yeah, Mogami Kenji.
Mogami. Yeah. So
Crazy name.
Mob versus Mogami, and then
Everything's outlined in blue. So crazy.
dude. That the entire
That's sick. Come
Oh,
on.
crazy!
That's gotta appeal to your Digimon sensibilities, right? Like
You know
when they're
me?
in
Yeah,
that-
no, it definitely
Yeah.
does. I love that shit.
Yeah. So that fight. And
Anytime
then,
you want me to make your show, make me think that your show is better than it is, just outline things that aren't black. Like, don't use black. Use red. Use no outline. Use blue. Use green.
Now he's
etc.
specifically talking about Digimon with the no outline in
Yeah,
red.
that's
just
true.
so everyone's
man.
clear.
Yeah.
Digimon movie.
Very true.
Yeah. But yeah, the other big fight in season 2 being, I guess, the finale that happens in the middle of the city, even leading up to the final fight. It's so crazy.
Well, all the fights
On
are,
so many
are
levels.
escalated, right? There are more fights in season 2, and they're all like even like the smaller ones are still quite big, or they're more ambitious.
Yeah.
In terms of animation, I think.
Right.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So maybe you're saying that because there's more of that, that's where the opportunity to show off animation
yeah.
is, and that's why it's almost like we perceive the animation to be better, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually not. I think it's still better, but I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Right. Okay, let's talk a bit about the first episode. This is the one where Mob starts dating somebody.
Sort of, yeah.
Wait, before you talk about the dating, I just want to throw in one thing. Once again, we get a man with a testicular face, the bartender of the bar that Reigen goes to. Anyway, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
In the OVA.
There's
I think that's in season 1, isn't it? Or episode 1? Or maybe that's in the OVA.
I don't remember.
He also makes an appearance in the season.
He
but
does, yeah.
Go ahead.
Dude,
That's all I
there's
want
a
to say.
second testicular face man, I think. I'm almost
Are
certain.
you sure? Are you sure it's not the same
It's
bartender?
one
guy?
of the two guys who try to rob Mob. Am I imagining this?
I don't remember it off the
Oh.
top of my head, but I remember there being more than one.
Yeah,
I
okay,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
one
yeah.
of them might
Yeah.
have balls for a face,
Yeah,
but
right.
also maybe it might just be
No,
the bartender
I
them
think-
smashing
I think
together
you're
with
right.
these guys.
You're thinking of Thanos. We just saw Endgame.
We
Yeah.
did, yeah.
All right.
man.
Sorry, go on. Mob starts dating.
Mob starts dating somebody, and then he finds out that she was dared to date him because he gave like this terrible speech to be like
Right.
student counselor or whatever. What do you
Yeah.
call that?
He didn't give a speech.
Class
He just
president.
stood there
class
in
president,
silence.
Yeah, he stood in silence.
To-
She was dared to date him, and then she lets him know that she was dared to date him, like some
Yeah.
sort of like 1990s Freddie Prinze Jr. movie.
yeah.
It's just like crazy weird scenario, and I thought there was going to be like some sort of payoff to that, and like he was maybe going to develop some sort of relationship with her, especially
Yeah.
because her diary or her story got torn up,
Right,
and he
she
like
was-
repairs it using his Esper powers,
Yeah.
and hands it back to her or whatever. I thought like that was going to be built upon, but no, it was just like a one and done, one episode thing. Like
she doesn't come back for
Right.
the rest of the season. I really thought
Yeah.
she was going to show up and just be Mom's girlfriend. I was so
yeah,
excited.
or like a new friend, or like maybe she joined one of the clubs that he's a part of.
I think she's like potentially more interesting than like some of the other like characters that are just kind of chilling on the sidelines, you know? I feel like she could have at least joined the roster and been interesting, because she's not like evil, she's not like a psychopath, but you can kind of tell that like there's something off about her. She seems like a little bit malicious in a way, but also Mob kind of wins her over by the end of it.
You know, funny, I didn't actually think that... I didn't find anything off about her necessarily. I actually thought that she told him kind of because she felt guilty, and then I thought she actually did kind of like him because... I don't know, like, I didn't really get the vibe that she was, like, malicious. I don't know. She seemed like another person that was just kind of, like, lonely. She was more popular than Mob, but she's, like... She's scared to admit that her stories matter to her, but like she shared it with Mob, so I feel like that's gotta mean something.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely agree, though. I did feel like she should have appeared in the series more. It seemed like she was going to. And I don't know, because Mob reveals that he's an Esper to her, so it seemed like they were setting her up for more. So I was a bit surprised.
Right.
That actually kind of leads me into what I know, or why I know I like the first half more, and why I'm guessing why Sean liked the first half more than the second half. And it's also why I like season 1 so much, is that even though Mob is an Esper and there's all these kind of supernatural elements to the show, it's a very human story and very kind of like a little bit like slice of life-ish, in that Mob's just a kid who's trying to like fit in, you know, he wants friends, he wants like the girls to notice him and that kind of thing. And this kind of Esper business is just kind of like it's part of his story, but it's not the whole story.
Yeah.
And I feel that in the second half, it kind of it became the whole story. The first half seemed to like tease more towards it being like season 1, which is more about like Mob's school life, hanging out with the Body Improvement Club.
Right.
We barely see the Body Improvement Club. I was so upset.
they show
really
up.
sad.
They show up a couple times, but like that was a
Actually,
major thing. Like seeing
the captain
run.
has a huge role in this season, and it is so sick.
Yeah, he has one dope ass scene.
Yeah, in what might be the same alleyway as the fight scene.
Very well could be.
Yeah. But Sean, is that what you were feeling about the season 2? Is that why you liked the first half?
So what I was expecting at the end of the first season going into the second season was, I was expecting this entire second season to be about this evil regime of Espers taking over the world, or Claude doing something, and for it to be about Mob facing off with them. And so when I saw the first, like, 6 episodes of the season, I was a little disappointed. I'm like, what, we're just returning to how things were? We're just going back to, like, the little day-to-day things with, like, Mob and Reigen and all that stuff?
Wow.
But then I realized that, like, I'm in love with everything that's happening. Every episode is great. What, they go to fucking Cuticle City and stop every, like, weird phenomenon that's happening there?
Yeah, like these really, like, funny, cute stories. And, like, it's very tongue-in-cheek. Like, that has that moment where the real Esper is, like, fighting that ghost. Meanwhile, Reigen's washing a dog's face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah. So, like, there was great moments like that. Like, great character moments between characters that I love more than, like, anything. Like, I think I love all the characters in Mob more than I love, like, almost any character in any other anime besides Full Metal Alchemist. like anything.
That's
like
true.
in our first podcast episode, I said that Mob was the Gohan I always wanted, and then we all were like, "Aw," and we all like reminisced about it for a little bit.
Of when Gohan used to be cool.
yeah. But like, okay,
it's
so
true, though.
the thing is, the second half of the season gave me what I wanted, which is like all that weird Esper Society claw shit.
They followed
but it
up
turned
on
out to
the
be
promise,
like the worst shit that I wanted. Like, it actively made me dislike parts of the show. Like, I was trying, and I'm trying to be honest with myself and what my emotions are. I was really fucking trying to like the second half of the show, really trying, but they just turned it into some weird, like, One Punch Man. Not that One Punch Man is bad, because that's what I expect from One Punch Man, but they were like turning Mob into like some weird One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, like classic shonen type bullshit that I don't need in Mob Psycho 100.
Yep.
They were it all started with that weird, like the best Esper who's ever existed taking over that person's body. So Mob goes inside his body to like reclaim that body, you know, save that girl's body. And the Esper talking one-on-one to Mob and being like, you're the guy who's training you is an idiot. You like are so much more powerful. You should be different. You should like, he's like giving him all this like life advice. And so when Mob leaves that body, he starts to think of his life differently. And he realizes that Reigen is a sham,
Right.
Which when we recorded our first season podcast, we talked about how if Mob, we were like, well, do you think Mob will ever realize that like Reigen is a sham and he should like stop listening to him? And we were like, no. And even if he does, it doesn't matter because their relationship is like too beautiful and like it goes beyond, like the respect goes beyond him caring that Reigen is a sham. But in this season, it totally like flipped everything that we thought would happen on its head. It's like Mob almost seems to have like little respect for Reigen in the second half of the show. Like they still get along. They don't hate each other. But Mob like doesn't give a shit about what Reigen has to say or do necessarily.
Right.
And that really like upset me. I'm like, that's the foundation of the show. Like that, when those two get along in the show, it's what makes me want to cry. When Reigen celebrates his birthday alone and Mob like half-heartedly like remembers it at the end of the episode when they make up, I'm like about to cry, fam.
Right,
Well,
I
yeah,
feel you.
yeah.
But like, okay, so
Agreed.
I understand completely.
Sorry, that was a huge rant.
No.
No, I get it. I
Yeah.
get exactly where you're coming from. Let me offer like my perspective,
Yeah.
which is kind of the counterpoint to this, because I genuinely did enjoy the entire series from front to back. And I see what you're saying in terms of like where it might come off as a weak point, or like they're not necessarily focusing on the strengths of the show that they established in the first season, but I think it's all necessary in the name of character development, at least in terms of like who Mob is and what he means and what the point of this whole show is. I think, like you were saying, like with when he encounters Mogami inside that girl's body and like they have that whole thing and he gets put into that like weird like alternate dimension, like
Don't you hate it when you encounter another guy inside of a girl's body?
Yeah, that was there.
my one joke
You
for
had
the
to
day,
take
yeah,
it.
okay.
No shame. I back it. But okay. But anyways, back to the point I was making.
Yeah.
So when he did meet that other psychic and he gets put into that alternate world where he didn't have loving people around him, and he's put into this constant state of pain and whatever, like the build up to that episode, you see Mob kind of taking charge in certain ways, like right when he puts that girl's story back together, like all the ripped up pieces of paper, and like he shows her that he's an Esper, he's kind of taking charge of his life and his autonomy as a person. And it's like, oh, like I matter, I'm important, I'm gonna make my own decisions and take my own feelings into consideration. And like going forward, every episode, he kind of starts to take more of his own feelings throughout, like into consideration throughout the series. And we see that kind of culminate at the end. But like, you're right, it was a big turning point when he did meet that dude. But
yeah. And I do agree. Like, I do think that like character should always come first, and like character development is really important.
right.
It's just that like I don't know, there was a heart to heart attachment I had to the show, and I felt like I was being a little betrayed.
The thing is, though, it's like it feels good when it's nice and easy, but it has to kind of culminate at some sort of climax where you see Mob fully unleash all of his powers and
Right.
emotions.
And because
that
Reigen,
happens, right?
Reigen was being very mean to Mob, and he was saying like this girl could never like actually like you, and like these friends don't really care about you. So Mob had to like stand up to him a little bit, but also like what you see from Mob is that this weird like Mob Psycho 100 part of the show. Mob, I'm pretty sure throughout this entire season, he never loses himself at 100. He's like fully sentient. He's like Dr. Manhattan when he reaches 100% in the season. Like his hair goes Super Saiyan. He's fighting like a super fucking Saiyan. He's like running on the sides of walls or buildings and shit. He's like a fully Super Saiyan powerful being. And he's not like shy or anything. He's like what his brother was like in the first season when he finally got Esper powers, like just totally unlocked. Like he's unlocked the 100% abilities.
Right, but
Which is weird. Like the flaws weren't there anymore. But I guess that's
the thing is,
all in
he-
service of character development, I guess.
yeah, but like the thing is, he doesn't necessarily have control. Like he's not always like, sure, he's a bit more sentient, but like the emotions that are being channeled into whatever he's feeling aren't always good, positive emotions. Like,
Sure.
he feels rage and anger towards the end, especially, like, if we're going to jump to the final battle, he starts to lose control to a certain degree while he's fighting someone who's finally, like, a match for him. Like, someone who's able to match his output of power.
Right.
He can fully let loose and lean into his sort of, like, the insanity that comes with that power, and it scares his brother. And then that's what kind of brings him back, and he's like, no, I'm better than this. I'm going to do this my way, which is the same thing he did with Mogami. He was like, I'm going to do this my way. You're going to try to tell me that, you need to be a more callous person. You need to take your feelings into consideration over the feelings of others just because you can and you're that powerful.
Right.
And they don't deserve it. And Mob is consistently taking the high road, saying, I'm not gonna do that. I have this power, but I'm gonna do things my way. And that is, like, the compassionate way.
Can I bring up something that's related for sure, but unrelated?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really got to address the theme song of the second season, which I really dislike.
Whoa.
Because the theme song of the first season, possibly one of my favorite anime theme songs of all time, if not the best anime theme song of all time. It's called 99. If you don't know what it sounds like, look it up. But of the second season, this song is called 99.9, okay? And it's all referencing the fact that, like, Mob is no longer who you thought he was. Okay, in the first season, I've been listening to the theme song, like the extended long version of the first season theme song, over and over again this week, sitting at my desk at work, almost tearing up, because the lyrics are so fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
If you look up the translation between Japanese and English. Like, it
I'm
starts
just
off...
picturing you reaching 100 and you, like, flipping your computer at work or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, like, it starts off, if everyone's not special, then maybe you can be who you want to be. You're searching for the answers. You will find them all in time. Just beautiful, beautiful messages.
Good stuff.
If everyone is not special, maybe you can be who you want to be. I know that you will suffer through the joy and pain. Your life is yours, so live each day. But if you are no different, then that's okay. You're searching for the answers. You will find them all in time. The whole song is about, like, are you okay with being normal? And, like, the chants in the background are all like, Mob, Mob, where do you go? Mob, Mob, which do you go? Mob, Mob, how do you go? Love, love, just like Mob.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a chant. It's like these, it's like the people, this, like
collective
everybody sees
unconscious.
themselves as, like, the main character in their own movie, right? And it's like, it's as if the crowd of the people in your own movie are turning around back at you and saying, like, it's okay to not be special. You can just be who you are. Because Mob just doesn't see himself as a special guy, but yet we all know as the viewer that he's the most special person on Earth, right?
Right.
It's just crazy. It's like this crazy sense of upliftingness. It's this, like, it's for the viewers. It's like, you are not special, but you don't have to be, and that makes you special. And that's what's going to make you, like, accomplish whatever the fuck you want in life. And in the second season, the theme song, dude, I'm telling you, like, it's not a badly constructed song. It sounds pretty dope, but all the lyrics, they're just like, get ready, wake your psyche up, Mob. Get ready, dig your anger up, Mob. Get ready, wake your psyche up, Mob. Get ready. Coming down, could you feel the satisfaction? But it's just, like, talking about the fact that he's channeling his anger into this weird 99.9%, and then the question mark percent that comes after it.
Right.
And I feel like this could all totally be fine. In the third season, it'll all be resolved. We're all going to find out he finally reaches that 100%, and it's clear, like, bliss. Like, he's the best character we've ever wanted. He's both this weird angry person and this, like, guy, this, like, kid who's, like, a lovable,
weird,
like,
angry person.
yeah, it's like both of those put in one, and he's the best character of all time. But, like, man, that theme song really offended me. I'm like, first of all, you had the best anime theme song, arguably, of all time.
Right.
Like, if Cowboy Bebop had a second season, they better as fuck keep that theme song. And Mob Psycho changed the theme song. I'm like, oh, this really hurts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that third season theme song better be called 100, and it better be better than the last two, like, combined.
Fun.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm really triggered by this.
Yeah.
Man,
it's okay.
Shows you how
Let
much
it out.
I fucking love Mob Psycho 100.
Yeah.
And, like, just...
No.
like, small bouts of disappointment from
I
this
agree.
season.
I mean, I think initially I was not feeling the theme song when I first
Right.
heard it. I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
but it really grew on me really, really fast. And I mean, like, I wasn't necessarily...
The visuals are amazing, just like the first season.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. And I have, like, a few favorite moments from them. Because, like, you can just stop it at any time, and there's something fucking amazing happening.
Like you're on an acid trip.
Yeah, it's so good. But I think my favorite part of the new theme song is when they're slanging that insane bass riff at the beginning, and you see, like, a screen, and just, like, Mob, Reigen, Dimple, and Teru... just like vigorously dancing behind the screen of black, and as it sort of like flies across the screen, they sort of stop dancing and like point to the screen or whatever. I was like, fuck it, this is great, we're back,
right,
we're in it. But yeah, no, I get that. The lyrics were definitely a bit confusing. I remember hearing that anger bit, like dig your anger up. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, weird. Dig your anger up?
Yeah, but like, I don't want the viewers to think that I'm totally shitting on everything. If the third season brings everything full circle, I'm not saying it has to go back to how the first season was. I'm just saying, like, if it contextualizes the first and third seasons and has, like, a beautiful ending, I'll be happy. Second of all, I keep saying that because, like, I looked at the chapters that there are written of the manga, because the manga's over now, and the first season, like, almost perfectly fits to 1/3 of the manga chapters. The second season is the middle third, and it looks like there's a full last third to be told in what I imagine will be one more season. So I can see this going one more season, then it'll be over. Yeah.
Hey, this is Dylan. I haven't spoken in like 10 minutes.
Welcome back.
Do we know how... I went and peed. No, I didn't. Do we know how true to the manga this has been thus far?
No, but based on the names of the chapters of each manga and the order they go in, I feel like it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
I haven't actually looked at the pages myself, but like all the little arcs seem like they're going in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to react to a couple things that Sean said about the second season. Because first, I'm going to say that I agree a lot. Like, Mob became kind of like this shonen-y show, and even though, I mean, we were just talking about how dope the animation was, like the fights at the end and kind of like it just felt a little like larger than life and a little too much. Mob in the first season, he felt like a regular dude with powers, but he still felt like a human. At the end, he felt like a superhuman. And that's not what I want from Mob. I want him to be a human.
Yeah.
But we need some of that, right? Like,
sure, no.
That's what creates the stakes, the fact that he's able to go that far, but he doesn't at all.
No, absolutely. I think character development is really important, and we saw Mob grow a little bit, and that was really good. Actually, we saw him grow quite a bit. But I do agree that we lose a little bit when it's not Mob and Reigen hanging out. That being said, I do think that even when Mob... I'm not sure when Mob realizes that Reigen's kind of a fake. I want to say it might be during that time where he's in Mogami Kenji, but it might I actually think that it's later. It's when Reigen gets set up on TV.
Right.
And
great.
I want to talk about that in a second. But one other thing that I want to talk about, actually, this is actually a bit of a non sequitur. But now, while we're on the topic of Mogami Kenji, I want to point out one thing about Reigen, which is that Reigen is actually a very competent person. When all those psychics are gathered to figure out like how to exorcise this spirit that's in the girl, all of them are like, "Oh, she's not possessed." Reigen's the only one that picks up on it. He's like, her speaking is not consistent. First she calls him father, or first she calls him dad, then she calls him papa. She knows that I'm a psychic without me saying. Like, so Reigen is actually like very smart. I think that's really why people follow him, as we find later, and we talk about that in a second too. People are drawn to Reigen. People follow Reigen's example, and Reigen has really good values.
Yeah,
and he has a lot to say. And I think, regardless of whether Mob knows that Reigen doesn't have powers or not, Mob is not following Reigen out of like pity or something, or just like pretend. Mob seriously values Reigen's opinion because Reigen actually is a very, very good example about what it is to be just a human and in general. And I think Reigen reminds Mob that just because you're an Esper doesn't mean you're not human. That's something from season 1.
It's almost like if Dylan, say you were really good at something like, I don't know, painting, and I came up to you and I'm like, Dylan, like, you shouldn't feel good that you're good at painting, man. Your paintings are pretty shit. It's as if like that's negative reinforcement, but because Reigen isn't good at Esper stuff, he's giving Mob like positive reinforcement. Like he's telling him that he shouldn't that he should be humble, but like putting him down in the same way. He's like, you're not as good as like you think that you should be, but which is really funny to me. It's like a very, very interesting character dynamic. Yeah. Because he's like putting him in his place, but also teaching him stuff. So it's like an equal trade-off.
I don't even necessarily agree with that. I think he only really puts Mob down in that one moment where the first time Mob kind of denies Reigen, where Mob says, like, listen, I told you not to, like, call me all the time.
That's so bullshit,
hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm saying, like, because before that, like, a lot of what he says is, like, he's very serious about, like, he's like, don't use it on humans. Like, don't use your power. You shouldn't hurt people. And in season 1, when he gets the power at the end and those guys try to hit him, Reigen's not like just like being the shit out of them. He's literally like stop using your powers for bad. Like be more. He's pretty much saying be more than your powers. You're literally saying I have power, so I'm gonna be this person now. He's saying like find a place for yourself, dude.
Yeah. He like I think makes fun of them and shit.
Yeah, so I think that that's really good. And so I don't really think that he's actually really negative to Mob, except for in that moment.
Right. No, I don't mean like negative in that way. I was saying like in my painting example, like I was being negative to you, but like the idea that I'm sending to you is similar to the idea that Reigen sends to Mob, but in a positive way.
Where he's like, oh, you probably couldn't even like register my power if you tried, which is why you're getting nothing right now.
Like, Mob, can you take care of this guy? He's way too weak for me to handle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just Reigen just pretending.
But I mean, I've got to say,
as you were describing Reigen, I'm just thinking about how he's like one of the most fleshed out anime characters I've ever like seen. God, I love him like a family member.
Okay, so that's another thing. So when we finally get Mob kind of standing up to Reigen, saying that he wants to hang out with his friends for a bit, we get this even more. We get like quite a fleshed out Reigen. First, we get this flashback to 3 years ago when he just quits his job and doesn't have a plan, and then he's like, oh, I'll just be an Esper. And that's really interesting because it's really telling about Reigen, and I think that this really appeals. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it appeals to a lot of people in our age group, like young 20s. Who like you know life happens really fast. You just like you get a job, you fall into one thing, and then you're there and like you don't like it, but maybe you just like stick around. Reigen just kind of quits. He does like the thing that I think a lot of people in this world want to do. Quit like the mundane job, and Reigen just goes out on his own. And then the other thing
when he was 24, and now he's only 28. I can't believe it.
I know. Yeah. Oh my god, dude! I was like, this guy's like 38. He's like 40 something.
It reminds me of like Cowboy Bebop, when you're like, oh yeah, clearly Jet Black is like grizzled, retired, like policeman or soldier or whatever, and he's 35. You're like, what?
Excuse me? Can you add 20 years to that?
Yeah. Doesn't have good genes. Anyway, So and then we get this kind of picture of Reigen being this like lonely guy. Like he doesn't really have friends. He hangs out at a bar, and these people adore him because they're idiots and they don't really like know him well. Yeah. So Reigen's like a really sad guy, and I think Mob is probably his best friend.
Yeah, and he gets like emails from his mom where it's like, hey, like I got like a job lead for you in case whatever you're doing right now isn't working out. You're getting older.
But the job lead is the same job he used to have. In the call center.
Oh, is it?
And he like considers it, and he's like, oh, maybe, but
I would actually say that this season isn't actually broken up into like 6 and 7 or 7 and 6. It's really, I think the first 8 episodes is the first arc, because the end of episode 8 is when Mob's house is burned. Right. And season 8 is very light. It's about Mob wanting to run a marathon. And there's another beautiful moment in that, is that Reigen runs it with him.
Oh yeah, he's like him. Really trying.
That's really sweet because Mob's struggling, and then like suddenly Reigen like turns the corner, and he's in the shot, and he's wearing like these really short shorts, and then Dimple says something to him like, "I can't believe you're running," and Reigen says, "Don't look." It's like really funny and really endearing, and like
God,
and that links to I guess kind of like the unhappiness with the latter half is because like that's the part I love most, like
Right.
Reigen and Mob.
Dude, even like when they're sitting in the office and Mob is just bouncing up and down and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm trying to stay active. And Mob's like, or Reigen is like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go for a run.
Yeah.
That was like super heartwarming, especially after like they had just made up. Speaking of heartwarming, the moment where Reigen like decides to look into the camera, even though he knows like all hope is lost, and he's like, well, I'm gonna be exposed as a fake for good here.
Right.
But like, fuck it. I need to let Mob know that I'm sorry. Like at the moment he realizes that he's just been an asshole to him.
At the press conference. Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, you've
And the
grown
cameras,
so much. It's like, oh god, my heart. Oh my god.
Wait, sorry, what
it's-
moment are we talking about
so,
again?
Reigen goes to the press conference, and
Yeah.
he know he's pretty much beat, so he starts addressing the questions, and then he stops and he just looks at one of
yeah.
the cameras.
And
when
he
you said
says-
camera initially, I thought you meant like like the camera that we're looking at.
No,
like the
no,
screen.
like the camera
yeah.
at the press
yeah,
conference.
he looks at the camera and just
speaking to
speaks-
Mob out
yeah.
there, who wherever he is watching, and he just happens to be in the room.
Right.
And then he lifts everything up and saves Reigen's ass.
Yeah, actually, on that note, the other thing is that I think Reigen says something like, "Oh, now you know the truth about me,"
Yeah.
and Mob says, "Like, I know the truth. My master is like a really good guy." Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude!
I know.
Soul
That
crushing.
was so.
And then they like
sweet.
walk off into the sunset to get ramen, and
Yeah.
Mob's like, "Oh yeah, happy belated birthday."
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Man, the peak of what the show could be.
Yeah, that was the end of episode 7. That was that was a really beautiful episode.
God, I fucking love it.
I mean,
Also, like we were talking about the marathon, Mob's running it so that he can finally get with his crush.
right? And he's like
Reigen's
trying to
running it, I guess, I don't know, because he wants to help Mob.
Yeah, just to
Yeah,
support
he's
Mob.
just-
Yeah,
being
just to support
supportive.
Mob, which is great. The a red-haired girl wants Mob to run it so that he can cross the finish line and be like the poster child for her cult that she's
Oh,
starting
I love
right.
her. She's so funny.
Yeah, what the fuck?
God
bullhead
damn.
religion.
So interesting. Yeah. and
Oh
I
yeah,
guess-
the realization she has when she's like, I want to do this just for fun.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's like great. That I really related to her sometimes when she was talking. Like
Just the chaotic-
just doing things, just like being chaotic, just doing things because you feel like it in the moment.
It's fun to do
man.
bad
yeah,
things.
it's really
they don't
good.
necessarily have to be bad, but yeah.
Even like before that, when Mob is on the roof and he's talking to her, and he's like, "Oh, like I'm planning on running that with my own strength because I want to impress this girl." And then Dimple's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck? Like, you've grown so much, Mob."
I love what they've done with Dimple. Just like
Did
good.
Dimple become more evil?
No,
like
he
more
became
sinister.
more cool.
No, Dimple's whole plan, like why he initially hung out with them, was because he was waiting for an opportunity to take advantage of Mob.
Right.
Right.
And he's almost like Vegeta in that like he starts off as a villain and then he becomes like an anti-hero, like a reluctant ally. And he still claims to be like looking for an opportunity
Right.
to take advantage of Mob, but he's just part of the gang.
It's gonna happen
and
in the third season.
It's really fun.
It's
like
gonna
I
happen,
love Dimple,
like
man.
in the third major arc of Dragon Ball Z, when like Majin Vegeta shows up and he's like, "Wait, I'm gonna actually murder people now."
Oh, man.
Everyone's like, "Oh, you were serious about being evil? Okay, go ahead."
But the
I
thing
think
is,
like he's like a bumbling like thief, like a silent
Yeah.
movie from like the 50s or something. Like he's gonna keep like trying to do things and like falling, tripping over himself, running into doors,
Yeah.
like a
Dimple's great.
Looney Tunes
I feel
cartoon
like
or something.
They kept having inner monologues where Dimple's like, "Okay, I guess I won't just run off with Mob's body this time," because they wanted us to remember that he's supposed to be like a little
Right,
sinister.
right.
Because
but he does such a good job every time he takes
Yeah.
care of Mob's body.
Exactly,
he's like jumping
yeah.
away from all the danger.
Because if I just saw
like,
Dimple again, like in this season, and he didn't have any of those inner monologues about being evil, I would just think he was totally good now because I loved him in the first season.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that he was ever supposed to be evil.
kind of like a weird uncle
Yeah.
of the
yeah,
group.
he's like the Master Roshi.
yeah, exactly. That's the vibe. Strong Roshi
Yeah.
vibes.
Wait, I think we talked about this in our episode about the first season. We were talking about Dimple and how he's just always talking about people's like how hot they are or something.
Oh yeah.
And like, but in that podcast, I didn't say Master Roshi, but I was as listening to it, I'm like, I should have said he's like Master Roshi.
Yeah,
But now
right.
I have. Okay, circle closed.
What's
Dimple-
the girl that he has a crush on?
The one who
Princess
doesn't have a.
Tsubomi? What?
Tsubomi? Is it?
She's the one who isn't a vegetable head.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I love that they brought that back. I actually forgot about
the first
that.
episode, at
like,
least.
Right.
everyone looks like vegetables to Mob,
Like bell peppers and
around
potatoes
the-
and shit.
Yeah.
it's really good.
But yeah, that I forgot about that time that in season 1 when like I think there's like an episode where it seems like Dimple dies or something,
Right.
And then it's like flashing back like Mob's remembering Dimple, and then it just cuts to him being like, "Oh, she's got a nice ass."
yeah.
Dude, this is the exact same moment you brought it back in the.
Dude,
first
it's
episode.
so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
That
it's
moment
really
will
good.
always stick with me.
You know what's really funny in this season? When, okay, first of all, Mob, it's so weird that he's stuck for 6 months, like, in that girl's head, like, vying to take control
Right,
of the
yeah,
body
yeah.
of that girl. He's in there for 6 months, and then when Dimple comes in and it gives him, like, the confidence boost he needed, Mob's just, like, sitting there straight, like, dead-eyed, and he becomes incredibly tall and buff for a second before, like, remembering who he is and then
yeah.
shrinking back down.
And then Dimple's
That's like-
monologue's like, "Oh, I didn't mean."
Yeah, that's such a SpongeBob SquarePants moment, isn't it? Like SpongeBob
Yeah,
would like shrink
totally.
up or like grow up, become like really buff, and then shrink back down.
Yeah.
and air would come out of his mouth or something.
That was really good.
That's exactly what Mob did. So fucking good.
So in episode 9, so episode 8 ends with Mob's house being on fire, and we see Shoto, whatever that kid's name is, the red-haired kid. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you think like we think that he's evil at that point. So if we think like he burned the house down,
Dude.
or sorry, the house. Yeah. So we're not sure. And episode 9 is when like we kind of get this interesting story arc where we find out that Claw, the organization from last season, is plotting to take over the world.
Yeah.
But there is an insurgence within Claw where a bunch of people have left Claw. And actually there's two groups. There's the people who have been convinced by Reigen to live
Right.
Division 7. or
Division
something?
7 to live a good life. And
The
then there's-
original bad guy crew.
Yeah. And then there's Shoto, the son, who is trying to stop his father for whatever reason and recruits Ritsu, Mob's
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah,
Right. And then there's also like the foreigners who are recruited by the Japanese government.
Yeah, right.
So there's technically 3 people.
I don't
Like
remember
the
that
guy
at all.
with he's got the vampire hairline and he's got white hair and he spits goo out of his hand that
Oh wait, no,
solidifies.
aren't they being tested on by Claw? Weren't they given powers by Claw?
No.
Like
They're just
because
Espers.
that's how Ritsu got powers,
No,
right?
like the
cube head twins, like one has cube and one has a circle head.
Those
Oh, yeah,
guys,
those brothers?
No,
Yeah, yeah.
they're natural espers, but they're just weak.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what you're talking about then.
No,
Yeah,
but
I don't think I know either.
wait, there's like the little boy who's blonde and he gets super buff and he's like, "I'm here to kill people," like that guy.
Oh yeah.
And then his buddy
Right.
who's like super edgy and he wears a white jacket and he's got like short white hair. And he's like, "I've been sent here by the government to overthrow blah, 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 blah." And he convinces... they're not that important. They get their asses
Right.
handed
Oh,
to them.
okay.
But
Are they in like one episode and get their asses kicked?
they're in like at least 2.
Okay.
You're drawing a blank, but
Anyway-
you'll
anyway.
see-
Drawing a huge
when you
blank.
when you see
Yeah.
him, you'll know. You'll be like, "Oh yeah, that
Right,
that guy."
right.
The
Wait,
main point is that there's a bunch of conflicting forces,
Yeah,
right.
all
It's
kind
not
of
so cut and dry.
converging.
And they're all trying to get to this tower where
Right.
the main evil guy's at.
But-
But oh, sorry, Brennan, go.
Oh no. So I was just gonna say, like, I really liked how they just kind of dropped you into the Claw arc of this season, where they didn't spend any time fucking around, and it wasn't like a very gradual build up. Oh, you saw some of the characters from last season sort of show up in the earlier episodes. They're just creeping in the background, or like, you know how it's usually done, where it cuts to like them for a moment and they're talking about something and
early
you're not-
on?
yeah, and you're not sure what they're talking about, and then like by the time it all sets into action, you're supposed to remember. But yeah, what I really liked was the fact that after this jaunty, happy, wonderful, wholesome episode of Mob running the marathon, and like you get to see his family and everybody's cheering him on and he's doing so well for himself, and you're like, this is good. I'm here for a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden his house is on fucking fire, and then Mob's reaction is your reaction, where his eyes are like blank and he's like, "Oh my fuck." And I'm like, "Oh my fuck."
And his whole family's dead.
Dude, when he walks into the room and there's like a mangled hand on the floor that's on fire, my heart was breaking, dude.
Yeah,
I was like, this is my nightmare.
Yeah.
These characters who have grown to love, even like his mom and dad, who don't make that much of an appearance, they make an appearance at the beginning, like the first scene of that episode is like a flashback to them hanging out, having a picnic on a lovely day, and then Mob scraping his knee, and then like fucking off with his psychic powers and making stuff float around, and they're like, oh, and like, you know, it's sweet. It's so heartwarming.
Yeah, even like they're like having a dinner to celebrate them both running.
His mom is like, I'm gonna make something delicious tonight. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, that's something my mom would do. And then we get there, and it's the most horrible fucking nightmare scenario you can imagine. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Like, we got an email from someone who was watching. It was actually Sophie from Australia. I remember this.
Hey, what up, Sophie?
Who was, she mentioned Mob, and she was like, oh, like, I can't wait to see what happens next episode. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking, like, oh my god, some crazy shit must have happened. But then I forgot. And then when when we were back at this point again, I was like, oh my fucking god, this is definitely the moment.
Yeah.
This is the moment. Because I was like, you can't honestly be, like, serious right now. You can't have actually just killed those people, because this just shifted tone so hard. Like, holy fuck. If they're really dead, there's no coming back from this.
Yo, shoutouts to the real ones watching week to week.
Yeah,
like, I
real.
marathon this like after the show was done, so I didn't have to wait. But whew,
can you believe the anxiety that you would have for that week if you were watching this in real time?
That's true. That would have been hard.
I would be so upset for 7 days,
Well, like,
and I'm happy that I wasn't.
I binged watched it, but I still took a break. Like, at the end of that episode, I'm like, I want to believe that his parents are dead for a while. So I waited for the next day. Like, a whole like day before I started watching.
Did you?
Because you had like an inkling that they might undo it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
like,
sure.
it's like, why would they kill his parents? I mean, it'd be really cool if they did, but I was like 50-50. Like, they're probably going to bring them back.
Dude, I was
like, I have other stuff to do. I cannot watch Mob for the rest of the night. I'll go do something else. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I believed in Mob's ability to be unconventional to the point where they would upset the entire vibe of their show.
Right.
For the sake of completely, well, not changing the character dynamics between everyone by making Mob a psychopath forever now, but like the fact that even if they weren't truly dead, they could have been like really hurt, or like something could have happened to them, that changes everything. It wasn't off the table for me.
Right.
So there was some real tension there for me. I wasn't necessarily writing it off like, oh, they've got to be back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt the stakes.
No, I get it. I wasn't sure what was to come next, but I was like, what? Because I was like, how the hell did they end this episode with that? Right? Like, because it was such a light, fun episode, and then that happened. My note is literally, wow, this episode got really dark.
But it feels really sinister when the guy shows up to his house.
Because that guy is scary at the end of season 1. He's just like this weird kid.
He's a wild card.
He like kicks ass, and then he's like gets on the phone, and I think he's like, yeah, yo, I did it.
He's talking to his dad. Yeah.
He's talking to his
Who is the leader?
Yeah, so it was pretty freaky, and like Ritsu's pretty scared when he answers the door. He's like, oh my god, you're that kid.
And at this point in the season, I thought they were leading up to like the big bad boss of this world being like in the 3rd season, like that being a big thing we get to.
Right.
Because I'm like, how could they wrap this up in like 5 episodes or whatever? But I guess they do it.
Yeah.
So who knows what the last season will be about?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
So episode 9 is where, I mean, we talked about like these converging groups. There's all these different groups, and like we talked about, there's a bunch of people, the Claw members from Division 7, that are now committing themselves to living a good life.
They all make a
following
reappearance.
Master Reigen's example, dude.
Because they all got their
Reigen.
because they got their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
love
They
it.
think
Do
that he's like
they?
an expert.
Yeah, I guess they do.
Because they saw it,
Yeah,
right?
because
And
they-
it was
right,
yeah,
real.
they saw
They
it.
all got physically defeated by him.
Yeah.
Because he had Mob's like powers flowing through him.
Yeah,
Right.
and like that's just like a bit that never gets old. Like it's
Yeah.
really funny that people, like some people think
Buy
that
it,
Reigen
yeah.
has powers, but then the flip side of that is, like I said before, like Reigen's a really like good person, and he's a really good example. like he has like really strong convictions about
like
things.
He is the
And
supreme,
it's like hilarious. Like these people are now convinced they left a criminal organization and they're trying to do good.
Dude, you talking about Reigen is cementing him as maybe my favorite anime character of all time.
Yeah,
that's insane.
He's that good.
He
is great.
He's so funny, like, because like, he has these convictions, and yet he's like still really goofy. It reminds me of almost like One Punch Man in season 1 of One Punch Man. Spoilers here. Actually, this isn't even a major spoiler, but there's a point where One Punch Man is fighting a bad guy, and then he realizes that the day of the week is Thursday, and he's like, oh shit, I missed that sale on groceries. And then he's really pissed. In this season, Reigen doesn't think that they should fight the big bad because he's like, guys, we're just gonna lose, until he finds out that he won't get the insurance money from the person who burned down his apartment.
That's
and then he gets really mad. He's like, all right, let's kill these bitches, right?
Yeah.
So like
his business, not his apartment.
his business.
Yeah.
And then he's mad.
He's
And
like,
so that like that's kind of like this like goofy, really fun, like this sense of humor that one has, one being the writer.
yeah.
That I think always hits. Like, you know, it always works. Reigen is just so much fun. And the other thing is that Reigen's special moves make an appearance.
Oh my
God. Not quite as many times as in the first season.
No, but enough.
But man, are they funny.
Shit. They land so well.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. The timing is perfect.
Yeah, see, like, that was one thing. I actually wish there's a scene where Reigen tries a special move on the big bad, and it doesn't work, which I didn't like. I think that it should work, because I think what the funny thing is, which they kind of drive home a lot, is that, yeah, they're espers, but they're not, like, immune to everything. Because there's that, like, the second in command who's blind, and he can predict people's moves.
That guy is so
But he can predict Esper's moves and Esper's attacks. There's literally, he's, like, ready to fight Mob, and Reigen walks into the frame and just beats the shit out of him. And it's like, it's so funny because like it comes out of nowhere and it just works. And then this guy is just like flabbergasted. He's just like, what just happened? He's like, I can't sense this guy's power. And it's once again, it's the joke that all of these people are just like, he must be so strong because I can't read him. It just works every time.
You just mentioned him walking into the frame. That's the funniest fucking
like the
part.
Funniest shot.
He just appears. Oh man.
That's like
the thing is, he's built, that dude who's like blind, he's built up as like unstoppable. Like he fucking destroys Teru.
It takes everybody on their team to defeat him.
They're trying so hard.
Also, there's a really sick shot I want to bring up. You know how like all the Division 7 people have like teamed up with the mob crew?
Yeah.
There's the guy with glasses who has the toy katana.
Yeah, right.
He also has a gun. There's this really cool first-person shot.
Yeah,
he's like around.
He's like trying to catch
it's like a video game.
the dude, and then he appears in front of him and knocks him the fuck out.
In the face or whatever. It's very cool.
Yeah, those sequences with that blind guy. Sorry to our listeners who, because we can't remember his name, but you all know who we're talking about. Those are some of the best sequences because it's very interesting. Like, you get these like weird first persons. You get him like popping around, just beating the shit out of people, and then just like jumping.
That's teleportation sequences were so
that's
well animated.
Actually probably the most satisfying fight.
Oh,
right.
Because
what about another satisfying fight? Just when Mob's thrown up in the air, falls down in an alleyway, but he's caught by the Body Improvement Club, and then the captain of the Body Improvement Club gets taken over by Dimple.
Yeah, see, that's satisfying in like a story way, where this was just, in terms of like action, it's the best fight of the season.
For sure.
But yeah, I agree.
The moment when the captain was protecting Mob and he's getting stomped on, and then you see this change, and then he starts growing muscles and getting bigger, and I'm like, oh my god, did he have some like latent psychic powers? And he turns around, he's got the little the rosy cheeks of Dimple,
the Pikachu cheeks.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, I was standing up and screaming, and he's like, oh, 100% physical activity, and he's like naturally built muscles can destroy psychic muscles.
That's one of my favorite jokes in this entire series is whenever they use the percentage meter for things that aren't Mob.
Oh, it's so
really
good. And
fabrication meter, muscle percent.
It's perfect.
Actually,
He just crunches the dude, though. It's so sick. He just destroys this guy who is so big and badass, and it's like, fuck, that was amazing.
That actually, I can't get over Reigen being 28 years old.
I know.
So Mob is like 14. He's like something like that, like exactly.
Like, it makes sense in the ratio of things, but I guess the way Reigen like dresses and the way he sort of carries himself, he's like an older bullshit artist. You wouldn't think he's like kind of close to our
age. I pictured Reigen being like 36.
Yeah. Or maybe like early 30s.
I didn't picture him that.
It's crazy. Wait, now that we're talking about Reigen, I really want to bring up when he goes through the point where like you're seeing the flashbacks in his life and how he started his business up. I really liked how at one point he kind of just is a massage therapist. Like it's kind of just what he is.
Is he? Okay, I would talk about that because I was going to say I guess he isn't a massage therapist because like that wasn't his main.
Kind of just seems like that's what he is, and like he does that, but then he sees like the ad for being an Esper or whatever.
Right. Yeah, just someone selling like some fucking bath salts or some shit.
He just does whatever to keep on the lights, and like that's why he maintains the massage therapist business.
The funny thing is, it's like he was like literally about to pack it in when Mob showed up.
Yeah.
And like Mob is what saved his career as a bullshit artist.
Yeah.
Which is like such a funny full circle thing.
At the same time, it's good to know that he can like still hold his own when Mob leaves. Like he's still like doing really well
because he hustles, right? He like puts on a sign and does some like community service and like gets out there and like makes a website and like it's doing well.
Wait,
and, like,
just as a side thing, I want to bring up that like I think it was the people at Funimation made like a website for Reigen that was like it looked like a 1990s website that looked exactly like the one that he had in the show. And so, like, you could ask questions to, and I think I asked a question to it, like, "Oh, Reigen, when am I going to find love? Is it ever going to happen?" It was very. I never got a response.
Did they reply?
No,
shit, dude.
Yeah,
so, like, as like kind of a marketing thing.
Yeah, and I think I told you guys about this. Like,
they
tweeted about it.
I remember you mentioning it.
Whoops. Well, and like one of the people who works at Funimation or Crunchyroll or something like that was like tweeting out responses to people's questions. Like, I don't know, Reigen might respond to you guys. Being all cute about it. It was really funny to me.
I vaguely remember this. It's actually so funny that his website looks so jank.
Yeah, it's like the 1990s like Space Jam.
It's got like a visitor count and like everything's in like neon. Even Dimple, when he sees it, he's like, "This looks really shady." Like I don't know.
Reigen does succeed in beating the video game spirit, and he plays on like six consoles at one time. So like in episode 6, when he's like hustling with a mob, he's like focusing on what he can do. So just like faking like curing people who aren't actually possessed, and then the other one is that there's an evil spirit in a video game, but it's probably just some OP player. So Reigen just plays video games all day on different accounts. So that he can beat it. And then like the guys who hired him, they take a photo with him, and Reigen's like half dead.
He's a zombie.
He's essentially just playing like an MMO like nonstop and like playing himself to death. Wait, there was a lot of video game references. I wrote some of them down. Like what are there? There's in the episode where they go to Cuticle City and they're fighting all the weird like premonitions or things that people believe in.
Like the dog.
Also, that's kind of weird. Face, like people believe in like that dragger, that woman that drags people, because
it becomes real.
She gets her power by society believing in her. It's
the
like
collective unconscious.
Yeah, it's like the protagonist in Persona 5. It's
right.
Like because the public believes in them, they get their power.
Yeah.
Or they're unpower at some point. Spoilers, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, there's like there's like the two people fighting in the playground in that Cuticle City episode. That's like presented as a fighting game. Like Street Fighters are fighting together.
But they're two different fucking perverts. It's like
when
the serial flasher and this guy.
When the red-haired guy shows up to Mob's apartment before he burns everything down, him and Mob's brother like talk about how they lied to their parents about how they get a free spa day.
Yeah. It's all like
when they're lying, it's in 16-bit. Yeah, I'm like, why? Why does this like framed as a video game?
Before
is this
that,
a reference?
There's another one with like a piranha plant and like a tube or something. Is there not? Like I don't know. At some point, it might have been like the first episode.
Write that down, but maybe
it was very early on.
Also, when the umbrella guy, who's like the guy gating off the final boss in the second last episode, is just standing there like to fight with Mob. He tells the backstory about how like 15 years ago or something, this guy saved him from being like hikikomori like in his basement all the time. Yeah, and that whole time he's like playing Bomberman on like the PS1 or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, great game.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that's pretty crazy. Like,
it was
all this
pretty
weird
funny.
Video game stuff.
That guy is so cool. I love Umbrella Man because he's so kind of naive and like nervous, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but also die." Like, you know, he's like very, very over the top in that way, and it's so funny because, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, just to jump back really quickly, one other thing that I want to say about Reigen's like special move in hits. The only thing I mentioned, I didn't like that it didn't work on the big bad, because I like the idea that like it kind of grounds these Espers, that like they have these powers, but like Reigen could still just hit you and it'll hurt. And so that was one thing that I didn't like at the end, or when things were kind of escalating a bit in the fight sequences, people were going through buildings and they weren't getting hurt and stuff. It felt a lot more like Dragon Ball Z. Which I love Dragon Ball Z, but like it felt really good when these Espers were fighting with their minds. But like if Reigen just walks up to you and punches you in the face, it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So I don't like that the big bad was handled in that way.
For me, in the last few episodes, that I really agree with that. Like, it just felt like Dragon Ball Z, mobs going through floors of concrete and nothing's happening to him.
Like he should be hurt.
Meanwhile, in the alleyway scene in that first season, this guy with a mohawk or whatever is punching Mob, and he's bleeding really hard. And I felt like I was watching, like, I don't know, like somebody punch my mom. I'm like, no, I punch my mom. Only I make myself bleed my own blood. What's that?
From Dodgeball? Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyways, it really felt like Mob was feeling every one of those punches. Now, nothing matters. But also, what bothered me about the last bit of the second season is that, oh my god, now I'm stalling for time because I don't remember what bothered me. Oh no, what bothered me?
Let me remind you by speaking of more people who got beat up into fucking oblivion but didn't feel a thing. Remember when Ritsu, however you pronounce the name, he got like, when he was fighting Blind Man and he was getting smashed through this fucking parking lot, and he was flying into cars and into concrete walls and shit. And he's getting up and he's like, I decide my own life or whatever.
And he's not even that powerful of an Esper. Which
no!
I remembered it was bothering me because I said the word Esper just there. Okay, so I don't want to be nitpicky about this. I get, like, in a show like One Punch Man, everybody has their own superpower, right? Or like My Hero Academia, they all have different superpowers.
Oh,
in this show,
Sean, I meant to bring this up. I know what you're
in this show, I'm like, what do Esper powers mean in the show? What is everything grounded in? Why is Mob's powers different from this big evil boss, different from this blind guy, different from Mob's brother, different from the guy with Naruto hair who used to have tall Marge Simpson hair? Why are all these people, why do they have different Esper powers?
Yeah, that's exactly...
I'm fine with they do, just explain it to me, bro. Explain it to me.
I'm not... Well, I guess I'm fine with they do if they explain it, but like, I was not fine. Like, that was actually a major qualm I had, because before it was like, we're Espers. Now it's like, my Esper ability allows me to gain a bunch of muscles. My Esper ability makes me, like, I can control TV signals. Dude, am I watching My Hero Academia, dog? What?
It makes everything mean less, because you're like, okay, when I see a guy who says that he's evil and he's going to kill your family, I should know what he's capable of.
Right. I like that everyone was kind of the same
like, levitate the earth and rotate its axis. Like, how do I know where the powers end?
Even when in the first season, when we ran into like Teru basically had the same powers as Mob, but he just kind of like held a different position where he like made this awkward stance every time he used his Esper powers. But it wasn't like an inherently different thing altogether. There weren't genres of powers. Like when I don't know, maybe this will jog your memory for those like government plants within I almost said Scar. Claw, when the muscle guy grabs the little boy who's also a muscle guy and like smashes him into a wall, he's like, oh, we're the same type. And I'm like, oh, we're the same type? Like, there's types now? And then, like, even when they're describing the blind guy's power, it's like, oh, he can, like, read people's movements. Also, he can teleport. Someone... I don't remember who said it, but someone was like, who was hearing that description was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you get two OP powers like that? It's like, whoa, what are we establishing here? Like, even all of the true mobs of the show, like the people who were gifted Esper powers through like the big bad guy's ability to like all for one his power out, basically. they were just able to move stuff and float stuff and use telekinesis. They didn't have like a specific thing. So like, what is general Esperism?
Also, when
the teleporting was maybe the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
It was the most inconsistent thing.
When the main boss meets Mob, he's like, oh shit, this guy's the same power as me.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what? Like, first of all, we've never seen any evidence that Mob can, like...
Give powers?
Give powers, or, like, I guess... Now, as I say this, I'm like, I guess we've seen evidence that he can build up power.
Right.
But, like, I never saw his, like, 1 to 100 meters power. I thought of it as, like, aggression or, like, being fed up with the world. Like, that's what's making him snap. Not, like, energy and being built up inside his...
Yeah,
it's his emotion.
That's
it's like an emotion meter. Yeah.
Every time he lets his emotions go. But, I mean, like,
it seems like, because what the last boss said, it seems like he's alluding to that meter being, like, the power being built up. Like, the last boss says, like, over the last 20 years, I've been building up energy. I'm like, what? So what, you, like, didn't use your powers for 20 years?
Yeah,
he's like hoarding it inside your body.
He's getting ready to like one
really
punch all of the flesh off of Mob's bones or something.
Yeah.
With a single attack.
I didn't like that.
Also, like, unless they're leading to more like a Naruto route, which is that like everybody in Naruto is a ninja.
Right.
It's just what is your specialization? Like you can do the different hand form jutsus and become like a water ninja, but that's because you really practice in the water technique.
Right.
And you can like make doubles of yourself like Naruto, like 100 different versions of you, but that's because you studied in that like duplication technique. Maybe that's what they're being like. If you really think about being an Esper and you want to teleport, then you can teleport if you practice for 10 years. But, like, that really bothers me.
I mean, like, you know what? Like, I didn't like the inconsistency of it, but at the same time, it served its purpose to the build-up towards the end.
Yeah.
And I wasn't actually mad. I know you guys have a problem with it being like Dragon Ball Z. Like, I even had that thought as soon as he mentioned his ability to give away his powers. I was like, oh, like, this is a bit too much like My Hero Academia, but at the same time, I think there was enough progression through the fight that it wasn't just Mob saying, I'm gonna go to question mark zone, I'm gonna get even stronger, wah! Yeah. Like, we didn't see a new ceiling of Mob's power.
That's even mentioned in the fucking theme song, which makes me angry. It's like, oh, get to, like, this new percent. We don't know what it is.
Right. But the thing is, it's like, he didn't... I like that they didn't lean on that at the end of the day. Like, it didn't boil down to Mob having to go to the next level. You know?
It wasn't a power creep.
It wasn't a power creep. It was an emotional creep.
One of the last things I want to say, besides just like pointing out cool things that happen in each episode, is that like in the third season, I'm really hoping what they focus on, maybe not focus, but like one of the things they resolve is like what Mob is like at 100%, and being Mob, like the Mob that we know and love, like the lovable sweet kid, at 100%.
Yeah.
Because in the first season we got like he goes crazy and he's essentially his eyes go white and he's nobody at 100%.
Yeah.
Then the second season we get the fact that like he's this cool quote unquote shonen anime trope, like
his eyes get so pretty when a couple of those
and his
scenes.
hair goes up and looks cool, like he looks like his brother
when he has full control over his 100%.
He looks like the main protagonist of like Hitman Reborn. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that show, like crazy weird shonen shit. Like that's what we get in the second season is like there's this cool version who has no emotions, and he's like the opposite of what we know as being Mob at 100%.
Yeah.
And when the third season, I hope it like rounds out his character arc is like he is still Mob at all times, but he's learned to be himself, you know?
Right.
And he could reach 100% while being Mob.
I mean, he kind of gets there. And like the moments where it's a positive emotion, it's like courage or some shit, but it's not rage or whatever.
I mean, if like I was mistaking something and he gets there in the second season, I don't like what I saw. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I agree that the inconsistency is a little annoying, but I still think, like, for me, it still was fine.
Right.
I think it sold itself pretty well, especially for, like, not being a terribly long series. For having the amount of time that they did to cram that much development in and it be, like, digestible. And I was like, oh, okay, like, Mob is growing as a character, and it's not just a power creep. I think it did succeed on a certain level, but I do get what you're saying about, like, just sort of, like, get your story straight. Stick to the script. Like, you know.
Yeah. Even though I guess wasn't crazy about the story in the latter 4 episodes or whatever it was, 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
One thing I did like is the fact that they maintained the themes of the show and the heart, kind of like, I mean, Mob is an outsider, and I mean, his relationship with Reigen is forged on this kind of thing, like feeling like you're the only one, and then finding someone else that, like, you know, shares your struggle, I guess, or perceived struggle, because he thinks that Reigen was an Esper as well. And Mob kind of observes these villains, and he realizes that they didn't have maybe someone like Reigen to bring them down the right path. He feels bad for them because he's like, oh, you think that you're just an Esper. You don't realize that there's another option, or you didn't have anyone to talk to. There are very many times where Mob's about to fight, and he says, like, I'll be your friend. Like, I'll talk to you.
Right, yeah.
I'll help you.
I love that.
And that was very cool. Like, I'm glad that they had that, because it reminds us of the heart of the show, even when they got into these kind of larger than life set pieces.
Right, yeah.
Which was that an Esper is kind of second to you being human.
Right.
And, like, no one should feel alone, and then, like, people are there to help you, and, like, you know, you can connect with others. And that was really cool. Even, like, this big bad who is kind of, like, absolutely bad.
Yeah, right.
Until the end when he's beaten. We get this flashback of him and his wife where he says something like, oh, like, power is absolute. Like, and his wife leaves him, and we can see that he feels genuine remorse at the end. And so that was really cool. Like, I'm glad that was still present, even when they kind of abandoned the really, like, I guess, micro story in Mob, where he's just like a middle schooler who's in love with Tsubomi. By the way, I remembered her name.
Yeah.
And is just, you know, wanting to get fit and that kind of stuff. It maintained those themes and really, like, kind of what Reigen kind of taught him. Yeah.
See, he's just always going to take the high road, which is so nice.
And so that was really nice.
Like him extending the hand, literally, to both Umbrella Guy and then the big bad right after him. He's like, I'll be, like, I understand what you're going through. I'll be that person for you. Like, I know that you're very conflicted, but, like, you need a friend. I'll be your friend. I'm here to listen.
I think, like, Umbrella Guy and the big bad kind of represent, kind of like, if you are a very powerful Esper, what would happen almost to you if you don't have human connection, if you don't have someone, I guess, guiding you. Like, you either becoming like a shut-in where you I don't know, you just kind of feel like you don't fit in and you just want to be left alone, or you kind of think that you're better than everyone else, right? Like they're kind of on opposite spectrums.
Two different kinds of delusion.
Dylan, I don't know if you remember this by listening to our first episode about the first season of Mob Psycho, but I talked a lot about how, like, each Esper that they show in that first season is, like, a good different point of view of, like, how you would turn out if you had Esper powers and, like, Reigen wasn't there to, like, guide you along the proper way.
That's
like,
that's
it's
a
like a
point.
different thesis.
Yeah,
it's like a different a different outlook on how, like, each person or type of person would handle having these powers and how, like, differently they'd look upon themselves. And also, a huge aspect of, like, this season, I feel like we haven't, like, really stressed this point. Like, we have the happy-go-lucky times in the first half. Mob gets trapped for 6 months inside this girl's head, and Toxin is being forced to be evil by the spirit.
I don't think it's 6 months in real time, right?
No, it's 30 minutes.
Okay,
it's 30 minutes of real time and 6 months, like, in Mob's psyche. Or it feels like 6 months to Mob. But, like, that changes the whole second half of the season. That changes Mob. Like, Mob is no longer innocent after that point. Mob thinks of Reigen differently, treats Reigen differently after that point, and Mob starts being very introspective, which really fucked me up, but I get it's okay for, like, character development. Like, Mob starts thinking about, like, what would anybody do if he decided to side with spirits rather than humans.
Right.
Which is why he, like, lets that family go, like, the 3 spirit family.
That was before
the mom and the dad. I don't think it is.
Yeah, that was before.
That was before.
Right. Yeah, it was before, but, like, he's still, like, pondering these things.
It's
like,
more self-realization. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I think for sure that he definitely came away from that different, but, like, the takeaway I had from that whole moment was, even after being beaten down, like, you guys were just saying, like, oh, Mob had Reigen to kind of show him the way, and then these guys didn't. when he was put in that hypothetical situation where he didn't have that sort of guidance and he was being beat down by the world and he didn't have anyone who he could grow from or like rely on, he still, like, his nature prevents him from being like an evil, shitty person, no matter how much this other Esper pushed him. And he wanted him to break and be like, you know, let his powers loose and take it out on the world and become like Umbrella Guy or the leader of Claw. So, but he didn't at the end of the day. And like, yeah, he did walk away from that whole experience different, for sure. Like, you can see it. He does consider his feelings more and more. But I'm glad it wasn't in any sort of negative aspect. Like, at the end of the day, Mob's nature still wins out.
Yeah, that's a pretty beautiful summary, Brad. Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Season 2 kind of wraps up in a really cyclical way. In that, in episode 1, Mob is paid in broccoli seeds.
Right.
And in the last episode, the energy blast kind of hits Mob in his chest where he had been keeping these broccoli seeds. And now there's a giant broccoli tree.
But, like, you see a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
And you think that it's, like, the energy of a nuclear bomb going off.
Right.
Because of Mob clashing with the final boss. But turns out to be the broccoli. Giant fucking broccoli.
Yeah. And that was, like, a nice little funny tie-in, kind of wrapping the season up.
It's so silly.
With a nice bow.
And the fact that, like, Reigen hires the Umbrella Guy to work for him.
Yeah, I'm excited for what that brings.
He gets a haircut.
Yeah.
Mob's his senpai.
Yeah. So what would you guys like to see in season 3? Or, like, I don't know if that's...
I think I mentioned it before. Like, I want to see... I imagine it's the last season because there's not that many chapters left in the manga.
I hope so. It does feel that way. Like, I think in our season 1 podcast, Sean, you said, like, it feels like it's going to be a limited series, and I guess we hadn't looked into the manga yet.
No.
I'm assuming that's why. And it really feels like a short...
When we
should be a
recorded
short
that podcast,
story.
it might have not been over yet, the manga, which is why we didn't.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just want, like, a resolution to all this. Like, I want when the 3rd season is done for me to watch through the entire series over again and not blink during the 2nd season. Be like, yes, all of this was in service of that 3rd season. The ending, the Mob psycho character arc. You know? Mm-hmm. And I'm blinking right now.
Yeah. See, I'm not exactly sure how season 2 can serve the greater purpose of what I want in season 3, but what I do want is I'd love to see Mob and Tsubomi interact more.
Right.
But more than that, I want to see more of the Body Improvement Club. I want to see more of the Telepathy Club. Like those like crazy characters. Like we got a lot of them in season 1, and it was a lot of fun.
Like I just remembered, Tsubomi actually played a pretty critical role in kind of everything culminating at the end in the final battle, because Mob has a moment where he's like, I too have someone I need to like tell how I feel. And
I thought that was Reigen, but go on.
Oh, was it? Do you think it could have been Reigen?
Oh,
tell him how he feels about what though.
Did he say tell how I feel?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like, I need to express my emotions to someone. I also have someone I need to, you know...
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense than Tsubomi. Go on.
Yeah.
I don't remember this specific line or scene, but yeah.
We'll find it. I'll show you guys after. But, yeah, it's like, maybe Tsubomi is like a huge, like, actual factor in Mob's decision making.
I mean, she did have that scene where she goes to Reigen's office and asks him for love advice.
Yeah, you know, that's actually a pretty good point, because it's almost like in the Spider-Man movies from like the early 2000s, it's like when Spider-Man, when he's not Peter Parker, he's Spider-Man, like MJ just frequently gets caught up in the mix, like even when she's not part of the main plot. And so Tsubomi is kind of in that crowd when that giant guy is looking for Mob.
Yeah,
and it's like the reason why Mob has to be like, shit, like I need to do something.
Right.
Or actually, actually, it's Dimple inside Mob. Who's like, shit, Mob would kill me if anything happened.
I forgot about that scene.
And then he gets home runned out of there.
Yeah.
Dimple separates from his body.
So we do see a bit of Tsubomi throughout the season. Like, there was no, I mean, in terms of season 2, we didn't need to see Tsubomi go to to Reigen for love advice, like in the main arc of the story. But she was placed in there because, like, I mean, I think you're right. Tsubomi, I think, is a significant portion of the show that we need to pay attention to, and I hope she plays more. Yeah, that's
she's
true.
Just hiding in the shadows.
Yeah,
like,
she knows that Mob's an Esper.
Yeah, because when he puts together the script again, she's like, "Nice work," and like walks away.
Yeah, at the end of season 1,
and like,
or at the beginning.
She decides not to expose Reigen as a fake purely because she saw the one picture pinned on the wall of Mob and Reigen.
Right.
Because
I'd like for her to become an actual character in season 3.
I think the setup's there, dude. I think it's time. It's time to pull the trigger and make her a real thing.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen Emmy more, the girl who, I mean, goes on that date with Mob or whatever.
Yeah, I like
Actually,
her.
I mean, I really would have liked if Mob realized that he liked Emmy and not Tsubomi.
I thought that was that was
but like
what was
it seems
gonna
like that was
happen.
going to build to, but I would have liked to see more of her, but who knows if that'll happen.
He was happy.
If we're just talking about stuff that we liked from like the random episodes, I really like in episode 2 when they go to Cuticle City and they're having dinner with that like new Esper that they met, or they're in a diner with him.
Yeah.
And there's fries with salt on them on the table, and Reigen tells Mob to not eat the fries because they need the salt to be on the table.
Oh yeah,
which is really funny.
Oh,
That's like a really, really funny thing to me. I don't know why.
That was great. There's so many good moments. I think one of the ones that literally just made me burst out laughing was when those two guys were trying to rob Mob, but then every single time someone else gets in the way and they're like, "You want me to fucking kill this guy?" Like first it was like Dimple, he shows up and he's like, "Want me to possess these guys and make them like shit their pants?"
Yeah, right.
And then like
his brother
shows up and like crunches him, and this guy just winds up naked. It's like,
right, I forgot about that.
It's so silly and funny, and I loved it.
Shows up.
Yeah, they just like squash him. They just descend upon him.
Another thing I like is when Mob faces off that Drager like spirit in the forest.
Right, yeah.
She has no power against him because he doesn't know what she is or how
he's out of the loop. Yeah.
I'm like, is this a lesson that we should all stay off social media and Reddit?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
So that we don't know about like how scary these things are.
We're giving power to bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also that. I mean, we talked about Reigen's special moves, but the reason why he gets exposed on TV is that old psychic is mad that Reigen need him in the chest while he was possessed. Like, that's his reason.
Right.
So good.
He did him a favor, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I really like in episode 3 when Reigen's just like doing his online business and he gives a guy a piece of paper that lets the guy curse people.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, use this paper on whoever you want.
Curse.
Yeah. This is a curse. And then I don't know if they say this in the show or I was thinking this myself, but like if somebody believes in it hard enough, couldn't that turn into a curse?
They say it. Mob is like, what about this guy's intentions? He's walking around believing that he's cursing someone. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also the peeping Tom who is using like a out of body experience.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
It's so fucking bizarre.
And then that like teaches Mob or something that you can do things that are out of body, and he uses that like against the final boss or some shit like that. Like, how weird is that?
Man.
So weird. Oh god. Okay, in episode 6, I think this is the last point I have to bring up. Mob says something like, I'm starting to see that not everything you say is true to Reigen.
Right.
I'm like, fuck, man. I did not need to hear that. This show's making me so sad.
That's true coming of age. It's like when you're like 3 or 4 and you think like your parents are like superheroes. They can do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And then
you're like, wait, they're just humans.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you're like, wait, they suck.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
But okay.
I'm happy that Mob isn't so disillusioned with Reigen that Reigen gets cut as a character or his usefulness in the role he plays disappears. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not the case, and I'm happy that there's still a dynamic there, but like, I'm also happy that Mob's able to grow out of this weird sidekick phase. It's like, yeah, sure, he's not quote-unquote important, and he doesn't want to be seen that way, and he's done an excellent job of like maintaining his composure and like being a good normal person and not letting his powers get to his head. So I think it's pretty balanced, and I hope they move forward with this balance, but at the same time, they don't write Reigen off entirely.
There's only one way I can think to describe this, and it would only make sense to people who've seen Game of Thrones. It's not a spoiler, but I wanted Mob to be a little more Jon Snow and a little less Bran Stark. You know? Like,
Which he
more
was.
grounded,
He was. He's getting there.
realistic.
He's on his way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho 100.
Part 2.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, of course, for sure. Yeah,
Thank
are we
you.
wrapped up on things to say about the show?
I think
I am.
So.
Yeah, I loved it. That was great.
Yeah.
I want more. I can't wait. We're probably going to watch One Punch Man Season 2 next. Maybe not the next episode of the podcast, but we will watch it.
We're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Get ready for us to complain about the animation, I guess. I don't know. Unless it's really good, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess people are watching it now. Anyways, we have been the Shonen Chumps.
We still are the Shonen Chumps.
We will always be the Shonen Chumps.
That's what I'd like to hear. If you want to contact us, you can tweet at us at Shonen Chumps. You can email us at shonenchumps@gmail.com. If you want to listen to us, I mean, you probably are right now, but you can use Apple iTunes Podcasts, YouTube, the Google Play Store, or whatever the hell.
And everywhere you get your podcast.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. Boom, there you go. We're here. We want to hear from you.
We're Shonen Chumps and pretty much everything. At Shonen Chumps, whatever.
Yeah, talk to
Exactly.
us. Let us
Yeah.
know. Did you like the new season of Mob? Do you have recommendations for us? Do you enjoy the podcast? Let us know whatever the fuck is on your mind.
Tell us your favorite moment.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite moment from the season.
Yes, please.
Or from anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
life.
of your life.
In your
yeah.
life, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Please
get
share.
to know each other.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyways,
All right. Well, bye.
see you, Space Cowboy.
Everyone is not special.